Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast. This is the podcast where we have digital discussions, the worlds of social media, pop culture, sports, TV, film, everything really. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On Twitter, you know me as PD Beats. We are going to be talking some ultimate Frisbee or ultimate disc, some people like to call it as well. We are speaking to a member of the Ottawa Outlaws in the American Ultimate Disc League, the AUDL. We're talking to Jeremy Hill. Jeremy, welcome to Popternative.
Thanks for having me, Petey.
No problem. Can you give us a little bit of a crash course about, the league, the teams in the league, and just give us kind of a history of the AUDL?
Sure. So I believe it's been around 7 or 8 years now, which is longer than most people know it's been around. My team specifically, this is going to be our 5th year. So it's a 21-team league that runs across North America. There's 4 divisions, and we play in the East. So from Ottawa, we play teams in Montreal, New York, Toronto, Washington, and Philadelphia. And then each team kind of plays in their division, and then there's a playoffs at the end of the year. So the 2 and the 3 seed play, and then whoever wins that plays the top seed in the pool, and then those 4 finalists, one from each division, kind of go to a championship weekend, and then they kind of play a semifinals there, and then one championship game. So it's a lot of interdivision play, which is good, especially because it builds some rivalries. With it being kind of a newer league and kind of a niche sport, it definitely helps keep the cost down, but also kind of at the championship weekend allows us to bring like the talents across the country and put them all together in one place. And I mean, they have them it was in Madison last year, it was in Montreal the year before, and this year it's going out west to California. So it's definitely growing. And
that's a lot of teams. That's a lot more teams than you would think. Is it safe to say that there's a little bit of kind of a misconception about, it's like you said, it's still growing, but it is already pretty big. Is that safe to say that's kind of like a misconception, that it's kind of underrated right now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people don't even look at Ultimate as a sport. So when you start telling them, there's leagues, there's a league that spans across North America. The players get paid. We have sponsors, like Tiger Bombs are one of our big sponsors this year. We have like TV deals and stuff like that. All our games are live streamed. So it's like live stream packages for people to watch the games. So it's definitely bigger than people ever imagined. I mean, just the popularity of it's growing every year. Like when the league started, it was so small, and they had no followers on social media, and now there's like thousands and thousands of followers, and even like bigger name people are like reaching out to see like how they can get involved, and TV stations in local areas are getting involved. Like Montreal now has it in their newspaper as the box scores, which is like a huge step.
That's
so
awesome.
There's like NHL, NBA,
Yeah.
and then like AUDL, which is crazy for people to think like 7 years ago didn't exist, and now we in the box score. So yeah, definitely growing.
You mentioned, social media and sponsorship. What are kind of other ways that you think will allow people to kind of be exposed to the sport? Have you guys talked about, different initiatives to kind of get it out there?
Well, one of the big things with Ultimate is just getting people to watch it and getting people involved. So it's hard because people don't know it's a sport or that it likes played professionally. So there's a big emphasis on getting kids involved. And like last summer, I ran like a bunch of youth clinics and stuff for kids. And that's kind of like a league-wide thing, is the more kids we can get involved and the more we can get into the grassroots programs, that's how we get people involved. And then, in future years, it's bigger tryouts and bigger hype around the season starting. And so, yeah, as well as the social media and everything, just kind of starting from the grassroots and building up your fan base is definitely a way to increase like viewership and stuff. So.
You talked a little bit about the league. Let's kind of focus in on the Ottawa Outlaws. Talk about a little bit of the landscape of the team. Talk about, where the team plays. Kind of set it up for us a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. So, like I said, we're going into our 5th season. So this season we're playing at Carleton University, just like 3 of the last 4 seasons. Carleton's a great location. It's right in the center of Ottawa. For people who don't live in Ottawa, we can draw in from east and west. They have transit that goes right into the university, so it allows to draw people in. Teams had a good returning amount of players. Few people retired, like a bunch of rookies coming in. We just signed a player actually from rival Toronto, so that's kind of cool to bring another player in. And yeah, so the season starts next Saturday, April 27th. So definitely looking forward to it. It should be a good year.
You talk about, we talk about social media and, electronic word of mouth and kind of different ways to kind of get sports out there. And it kind of brings in more opportunities for more leagues to be created, for more leagues to get recognition. One can make an argument that it is a little bit of a double-edged sword a little bit, right? Because, there is only so much. It's the same thing when you talk to people about Netflix and the content out there. There's so much content, but at one point it gets too saturated where you're not going to be able to watch it all. Do you kind of feel like we're just in general, not even Ultimate Frisbee, but in general with the amount of kind of sports initiatives that are coming out, do you think that it's gonna become too oversaturated where there's not going to be as much kind of opportunity as people think because there's just going to be too much and it's just going to be this big bubble. It's just going to pop.
I mean, if you look at Ottawa as a kind of a sports landscape, right? You have obviously the Sens, you have the 67s, you have the Red Blacks, you have the Fury. There's already 4 big teams there. So that's one of the hardest parts for us coming in. If you give a comparison, like Madison, Wisconsin, they have college teams and other big teams and stuff. But they're doing really successful because they've been able to draw on the fans. So I think it is definitely tough. But the more we're kind of finding what our kind of target market is and what people like, and that's kind of what we're going after. So if it's, if people just want to come on Saturday and, grab a beer and watch the game for 2 hours, enjoy the weather, well, that's, we'll market that. So we just signed Calabogie Breweries, our beer sponsor for this year. So we're excited to have them on and going to be serving up some drinks at the game. And so I think we definitely got to target what people are looking for and kind of realize that we're in the summer, it's week sports, right? They're not playing every night. So if we can get people in, we only have 6 home games, so it doesn't take a huge chunk of your summer. So that's kind of where we're going. But yeah, it's definitely getting crowded these days.
What do you like about playing Ultimate Frisbee, and how could that translate into more fans?
The biggest thing about Ultimate is that it's such a quick, fast-paced game. The goals are the goal average is down so far in the first 2 weeks of the season, but they shorten the games a little bit, but there's 40 goals minimum scored a game between the two teams on average, and if not more. So there's always things happening. Some points last literally 2 seconds. One really big long throw, and then 2 players fighting for position and trying to reach their apex in the air to grab that disc. And some points are a full minute, but it's a bunch of strategy and really tight defense and big plays and really close calls. So it's such an exciting sport. Unlike, soccer or something where the game could finish 0-0 or 1-0, right? There's always something going on. Players are running at, 75 to 100% speed all the time. And then you get a minute off kind of thing, and then you're back on. So that's the biggest thing is once people get into watching the game, they realize how exciting it is. And yeah.
What's kind of the, you mentioned a lot of exciting things happening with the Ottawa Outlaws. You mentioned, the beer sponsorship. You mentioned kind of the, the box scores in Montreal. What has kind of been the most kind of climactic or cool thing that's happened in the last couple of years in terms of the branding and the growing of the Ottawa Outlaws, in your opinion? Has there been kind of like a cool moment that's happened?
I mean, we haven't had the greatest last 2 seasons, so that's been definitely a little bit of struggle. But I think just seeing how the team's growing every year, more people are knowing about it. There's more talk about it. Like I was driving into work last summer, and they were talking about it on the radio on Team 1200. So I didn't even know what was going on there. We had no warning. It just came up in conversation. So it's people know about it in Ottawa, and I mean that's kind of the goal. Is just the more we can get people to know about it, that's kind of what we're looking for. So obviously this year we set our sights making the playoffs, and then obviously getting the championship weekend. But that would be our apex, I guess. Essentially, is this year is just hitting the playoffs and getting that first playoff game at home.
Can you talk a little bit about Ultimate as kind of, we're talking about it as a professional sport. Can you talk about it a little bit as a recreational sport? Do you see it kind of growing as a sport that people are kind of learning at a young age? Like, can you talk a little bit about that, Jeremy?
Yeah, for sure. So I think Ottawa's it's either second or third largest recreational like kind of Frisbee scene in Canada. So at one point there was like 5,000 members in the Ottawa Carleton Ultimate Association. So that's kind of recreational. So as well as playing competitive, some of our guys play just for fun with some friends on weekdays in those recreational leagues, just to kind of, keep their touches up and just keep playing. But yeah, it's definitely growing, and that's where we draw a lot of our fans, is people who like the sport, and maybe they've got a little bit too much going on with work or kids or whatever, and they can't commit to playing professionally or just aren't at that level. But that's where our fan base comes from, and yeah, it's definitely quite large in Ottawa. And I mean, there's leagues playing all over town. If you drive pretty much anywhere in Ottawa, you'll see people playing around. So.
What are 3 words that you can use to describe the AUDL?
The league, I'd say exciting would be one. As I mentioned earlier, like the game's really exciting. Expanding in terms of on-field talent, sponsorships, TV rights. Third word, I'd say like entertaining or fun.
Triple E's, I like it.
Triple E's. Yeah, no, I think it's once people are into the game and interested, that's kind of what brings them back. So yeah, those are 3 E's.
What I find really interesting too, though, is I hope there's more kind of an effort of, the in-game entertainment, like during games. I think it's the big thing, because obviously, like, the people running the teams, they have no control of the outcome, like, on the field, but they have a control of what happens kind of in the stands and intermission and everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of one of our big emphases in the last few years, is just getting people involved in the game. And we got a mascot last year, the year before. Yeah. So we Flick Horse. For those non-Frisbee related people, Flick is a ultimate term for a way to throw the disc. Yeah, so that mascot, he's up in the stands all the time and interacting with fans. And then after games, fans come down, and it's really close to where the fans sit for the players are. So we're constantly signing autographs or always throwing discs into the stands after games and stuff. So and they do giveaways all the time. They throw T-shirts in the crowd, or they give away free pizza. So it's more than just coming and sitting there and being quiet and watching the game. It's about kind of the whole event, if you want to call it. That definitely sums it up for an afternoon. So
I have to say it. You sign autographs?
We sign autographs. Yeah, there's kids.
I see you like every week, and I've never asked for your autograph.
Well, we can change that.
Well, Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on the show. I know we've been wanting to do this for a while, because I know, the season's starting up pretty soon. So it's awesome that you were able to come on and talk about the Ottawa Outlaws and the AUDL. Can you kind of plug away, kind of like just kind of the field is yours to plug away. Where can people follow it? When does it start? Just go for it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. Definitely wanted to get on, just talk about the team. And yeah, like I said, we're starting our season next Saturday at Carleton University. So we have 6 home games. You can check the website out at ottawaoutlaws.com. That's a league-wide website as well. So if you're interested to learn more about the league, you can see all the different teams, where they play, who's playing for them. Schedule is also on there. And I think one of the biggest things too is tickets are really family friendly. So kids under 8, I believe, get in free. And then your tickets are somewhere between like $8 and $12 or something like that. So for a family of 4, if you have young kids, I mean, it's like $20 and you can come and hang out, and they can catch stuff in the stands and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely a family activity if you want to come out. And yeah, we start next Saturday. So
where can people follow the social medias?
Right. Yeah. So we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and we're on Facebook. I don't remember the exact handles, but you just search Ottawa Outlaws on Twitter or Instagram. It'll definitely pop up.
And what about you specifically? Yeah. Where can people follow you on Instagram and Twitter?
On Instagram, I'm at JareTheBear18. Unfortunately, not Ultimate related because it came before my Ultimate days. But yeah, definitely if you want to follow me as a player or the team, we'd love to have you following us along. And we definitely always throw promotions up for people following the team too. So if you're paying attention to that, you can definitely get a game discount in there. So
amazing. Well, no, seriously, thank you so much again, and all the best with the season, dude.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, Pete.
No problem. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. You can, that's for the video episodes. Audio episodes will be on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to podcasts. And until next time, this is Jeremy Hill and Petey Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.